Hi, Chris here with a very fast e-scooter. This is the Splach Twin. And what do I say very fast? Well, it's got dual motors. They can peak at 1,000 watts each, and it can get up to 55 kilometers per hour, very quick. It's got a 15.6 amp hour battery, which they claim can get us up to around a range of 55 kilometers. Not bad considering the size of it. It does weigh about 24 kilos. It has dual suspension, dual drum brakes with electric brakes as well. And the size of the tires are 8 inches, these ones. And they're solid, hard rubber tires. So you don't need to worry about pinch flats, punches, which is one of the Achilles heels, definitely, of a lot of the other scooters that I do review. It has collapsible handlebars. You can fold them right down so you can fit it into smaller spaces like the trunk of a car, boot of a car. And the handlebars, they do also collapse in as well to aid in storage. The twin scooter does come really well packaged up, a lot of padding around it, received absolutely no damage in transit, which is definitely what I like to see. So we do have on the right a little box which contains our charger. There is an instruction manual and a tool. So no assembly is required. However, we do have to tighten up a few things. You need to spin around the brake levers, tighten those up, the throttle, and then the 2 buttons for the Eco Turbo mode, the single and dual motor mode. So as mentioned, our twin here does have a dual 1,000 watt motors. Well, they're actually 600 watts, but they do peak at 1,000. And both front and rear do contain drum brakes here. So it's not using disc brakes. However, it's a hybrid braking system because it's using both electric braking from the motor and then those drum brakes. The tires are 8 inches. Now, they're solid rubber tires. They're about 2.36 inches wide or 60 millimeters. And we do have front and rear suspension that does work really well soaking up bumps. The tread pattern of these solid rubber tires is what I would classify as a road tire, street tire here. So you definitely don't want to really be going off-road with tires like these, even though it is a dual-wheel drive scooter. The height of the deck does have reasonable clearance here, so you can drop down curbs, and housed within it is our 48 volt 15.6 amp hour battery, which should get us anywhere from about 35 kilometers up to around 45-50 kilometers range out of the twin. The Splach Twin has rear brake lights and even side lights. Now you can see at night here they're definitely visible. They're not the brightest lights, and when you brake they do flash, which is a nice added touch. Up the front we do have another 2 additional headlights. Now these are bright enough to light the path ahead of you. You sometimes have the suspension blocking at least one of them when you're turning, and sometimes just going straight, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I wish they had a higher placed headlamp, but they don't with this model here. And right here is where you will find our charging port. Now the charge time of this 15.6 amp hour battery is around about 7.5 hours. Build quality of the scooter is excellent. It does have a very secure mechanism here and a pin which is really strong that is locking the handlebars into place. So they are collapsible. You simply need to pull on this lever here, but there is this little security on the side that you need to flick up. So once you pull that out, which does take a little bit of effort, you'll see, then the handlebars can collapse right down and then they lock into place. Now to get yourself set up again, it's simply just pull on that lever again, and it's a little bit hard to get it out, and then you just simply push it up, but you have to push it up quite firmly. You hear a click and it locks into place, and then flick down the little security there to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. The scooter does have a tiny little kickstand here. It is sturdy, it does not rattle around, and supports the scooter's weight no problem. The handlebars do fold in, so we've got this little mechanism right here that you need to slide back, and then you can simply drop the handlebars down. So that means it makes it a little bit easier to fit it into smaller places. Now, is this design a weakness? Well, so far it's holding up well, it doesn't rattle, and it does feel secure and safe. There's a tiny little bit of movement there in the handlebar, but overall it's not a concern for me so far testing it out. We have these 2 buttons right here. So we've got Eco mode, which limits our speed to 25 kilometers per hour, and it's a little slower, or Turbo, which is maximum acceleration, maximum top speed. And you can swap between single motor, which will just be the rear motor, 600 watts, or the 1000 peak, or both of the motors, front and rear, for maximum acceleration. Here we have our accelerator. we've got our power on button, so you can cycle through the modes here. So that's currently the odometer with 51 kilometers that I've done so far. We've got the voltage, so 53.5, time, trip, and it goes back to the odometer. You can see the battery gauge right there. So there are 5 bars. And here at the top, that's our gears. So I'm in gear 3, which is the maximum. You've got gear 1 and gear 2. This is our speed. And you can change this and have it displayed in miles per hour. Probably my biggest complaint of the scooter is this screen, that it's very hard to make out in direct sunlight. It is backlit, so you can see it at nighttime. But in bright conditions like now, hard to see, and it's currently flickering, but it's only on camera. It's to do with my shutter rate. Another positive of this model, we do have an adjustable handlebar height. That is the maximum that you can raise it, and you can drop it right down depending on your height. Road test time now. So what is the Splach twin like to ride? So it's not the longest of decks we have, but both of my feet can fit in here quite comfortably. I'll just show you as I ride off now. So I've got enough room here that I don't feel like I'm crammed in. Now, other scooters that have this kind of power, the twin up to 1000 peak motors, would probably have a longer deck, maybe a bit of a larger battery, but I do like this more compact size with this particular scooter. Now, it's certainly not an off-road scooter with these tires, because they're going to slip on any loose gravel, some light dirt and stones, which I do have up ahead. So I've got a few bumps here. The suspension does handle it really well, and this is a bit of a rocky path up ahead. So going over this, how is it going to handle it? Well, not bad at all. That's the suspension really does its thing. It soaks up all of those bumps, and even these little light bumps and ridges in the road here, not a problem at all for the suspension on the twin. So cruising along in eco mode, I'm at the 25 kilometer per hour legal limit here in Europe, and it's very happy cruising along. It's very comfortable like this, and you don't have that risk of spinning the front wheel if you use the turbo mode and the dual motor mode. The dual motor mode and turbo, both of them peaking at 1000 watts. There's a lot of power, so in the wet that could actually be a little dangerous. So here it's very tame. Now for a speed test, so I'm in a relatively empty car park. There should be no traffic and no one walking about here. So the top speed of this, they say can get up to about 45 kilometers per hour. Now I do have it in the turbo setting and dual motors, and gear 3 is the setting that I am using, which is the top speed. Now I have found the acceleration in the twin here to be super quick. Now watch this, 1, 2, 3, accelerate. Front wheel is spinning, it's got that much power. And I'm up to 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers per hour, 45, 47, 48, and that's it. I don't really want to go any faster than that, especially on 8-inch wheels. So here we are with my climb test spot. Now this is very steep. It's about 25-30 degree gradient, and this normally kills most scooters. The ones I reviewed that had 350, 500 watt motors, but this being twin motor, so right now I'm just in the eco mode and it's going up this without any problems at all. I'm doing about 23, 22 kilometers per hour. So I'll just tap turbo and look at this. I'm accelerating up this. I'm gonna get up to now 30, 40 kilometers per hour, handling these climbs with absolute ease. Not a problem for the Splach twin. So it's all very well having a high-powered, fast e-scooter, but what about brakes? It's very important, especially at the speed you can get up to on this one. Now, I was a little concerned about the drum brakes. So right now I'm at 40 kilometers per hour, braking not bad at all. It's a combination of both mechanical, physical drum brakes, and then the electric brake too from both of the motors. So the braking, I wouldn't rate as the best, but it is pretty good. And I can comfortably stop when I need to, and I don't feel any times like, oh, hang on, that wasn't good. Those brakes are a bit scary. No, it's not happened to me with the Splach. And what about a range of the Splach twins? So me using mostly the twin motor mode and turbo and not taking it lightly and easier on the battery at all, I managed to get 27 kilometers out of a single charge from that 15.6 amp hour battery. Now, if you use the eco mode and just the single rear motor, I can easily see this thing going for at least 40 kilometers, maybe even a little bit more. So the range is excellent. I'm not the lightest rider either. I currently weigh about 82 kilos. So if you're a little bit lighter, expect better range, and I did do quite a few climbs with it. So what are the things I like about the Splach here? I do like the build quality. The design of it I think is really quite good. I like the security little latch that we do have to fold it down is quite secure, and we don't have any play really at all on the front handlebar there, because a lot of other scooters I've reviewed, sometimes there's been a little bit of a play there, clunking around. That's not present, which is really good. You can adjust the handlebar height, you can pull the handlebars in too as well with them. And the brakes, even though they're drum brakes, I was a little concerned in the beginning thinking, oh, this kind of power really should have disc brakes and hydraulic ones at that. Mechanical drums, it seems to work well because they're using both of the motors there to also slow it down with the electric braking it's got. So climbing performance, definite positive there. This thing just blows me away at how quick it climbs and how fast it is too on the straight. So in the turbo mode with the twin motors and accelerating, this goes up to about 30 kilometers in only around about 2.5, 3 seconds. It's really quick. And as you saw from my test, it gets up to 40 and then even 50 kilometers per hour for any of you speed freaks out there that want to go really fast. So it's very powerful, very quick. So what are my complaints? Now my complaints of this model here are very minor. That is the screen. This is a common issue with a lot of other e-scooters I review. It's very hard to make out this display in direct sunlight. The lights on them, so the rear brake lights, it's very hard to see that. It's not as bright as it could be. I wish they could improve upon that. That really is it. Other than that, I think this is a fantastic e-scooter, very powerful. So if performance is your thing, you're sick of going up hills really slow or having to actually kick or push a scooter, this is probably the one to get. And it's a more smaller, more compact, lighter portable design at only 24 kilos. So thank you so much for watching my review here of Splach's Twin.